Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you all are doing great today. I have a little bit of somewhat exciting news. Tomorrow is my birthday. I'm turning 25. So naturally, because it's a bit of a tiny celebratory day, um, I don't really want to think about making a video for my birthday. So that's why I've made two videos today, one on my second channel and one on this channel. That would normally be on Wednesday, tomorrow, so almost 25. Yeah, I just wanted to say that quickly. But also, something that the universe has aligned very nicely for my birthday is a series is just beginning to do a third season that I like, and I've been waiting for the third season for a while, but it's actually says it's going to be uploading on like certain sites on my birthday. So it's like the universe's way of saying happy quarter of a century, dude. The series is called Love Victor. So they did a second season, I think, last year, and they finished it. So I think naturally they've done a series for each year, but I think this one's going to be the season finale. I would personally like it to be longer, but obviously a show can only run for a certain amount of time until it gets a bit either boring or predictable. The series is really good. If you are into like LGBT rights or LGBTQ storylines in series, I would recommend Love Victor. Now, some of you are probably wondering, Love Victor, that kind of sounds like a movie that I watched one time called Love Simon. And it so happens that it's actually inspired by Love Simon. So it's the same premise, but with different cast and technically a different storyline. So Love Simon was a film about a regular looking gay kid and his like coming out story. You know, his coming out story is like relatively positive. You know, there's one guy that somewhat bullies him, but he's not like a bully. And it just highlights what the average bi, trans person can go through when they haven't yet come out and the just before that stage of feeling comfortable. But it's very heartfelt. It's not like political at all. It's literally a wholesome movie with a sweet kiss near the end. So, literally, it is the movie to show you straight friends, to show what the community goes through without feeling like it's pushed upon them, and that's always a good thing. I do like Love Simon, but because I'm more of a series person, like I find it hard to watch movies. Sometimes I have to be in a specific mood, where TV shows and series is, I can like watch almost every day. Because with TV shows, obviously there's more time to do like a whole storyline on specific people, and I like to know people's story and people's life in the TV show, and I like to know a lot of things about them. Where obviously in movies you don't really get that as much as a TV show. So naturally, because Love Victor is a series, I did prefer Love Victor. And it's not just the fact that it's a series. Love Victor is a lot more truth telling about the LGBT community, the good and the bad, than Love Simon. They went more personal, which I think is good, but it still has that sweet, wholesome, lovey dove vibe about it. I would say that there's probably a bit more PDA. Like, there's a bit of nudity where in Love Simon there was none, And there's a lot more kissing between all the couples, especially in the second series with the main gay couple, which is Victor and Benji. They kiss a lot, but it's what makes them such a strong couple. So if you want to watch the series, just keep that in mind. And if you don't care about PDA, then I would give it a watch. Especially if you haven't watched it at all yet. Because like I say, tomorrow, there should be streaming platforms where they're streaming the third series. So you get to watch the whole series from start to finish, and you don't have to wait, as far as I know, which is a great thing. So, yeah, it's a lovey-dovey kind of drama film, and it's just series, but it's just a really nice way to learn about the community and see all sides of each spectrum. Like, you get to see how Victor comes out to the school and he plays sports. So you can see some guys on the basketball team have a bit of a weird thing with it where they don't want to shower with him, but then they all change their mind. So you get to see that side. There's a really like flamboyant Muslim gay guy that's in there. Oh my god, he's so hot and he's so funny. But I really like him. He's like a really good character. So obviously you get to hear his story with the fact that his parents are religious, so you get to see his struggle, and you get to see the difference between being a white gay person and being a brown gay person who has a faith-based family, because that's obviously going to cause a bit of struggle. So, I don't want to mention too much about it. I feel like I've already gave quite a lot of spoilers for anyone that wants to watch Love Victor. So I'm going to just kind of leave it for now. I'm actually going to link, if I can, I don't know if it's like different on YouTube, but I've linked my second YouTube channel on here and I've linked my Twitters down on here. If I can, I'll link a streaming engine that has all of the Love Victor seasons on it. If I can, I will do it. So, even though I've just been on that whole rant, you know, what else is new with me? I rant a lot. That's actually not the main reason why I'm making this video. So, I've just been on a whole spiel on how I think Love Simon and Love Victor are both very good LGBT-based series and movies to watch, just because it's very wholesome, and they don't talk about politics, which is good. Like, now in the LGBT community, it's so politicized where it annoys me, who is technically a part of that community. So it's refreshing to see a series that's just literally about gay love, because I feel like whether you're gay, you're bi, you're straight, you're trans, everyone just needs to express love in the world and kind of show and tell their story, and that's exactly what them two shows do. I'm personally one of them people within the community that has a thing for kind of like genuine, lovely gay films and gay series. When I was in Catholic school, you know, because they were like homophobic and whatnot, in their like specific ways, my escape was always to find gay storylines from soaps or TV shows, or find specific movies. Like, there are companies out there that do specifically gay, lesbian, bi, transgender stuff. And, you know, that was always my escape. So naturally, because I've been into it since I was a kid and in school, I'm still into it now. But I've actually brought physical copies of it. So also the reason why I'm making this video is to say that we need more films that are like what I'm gonna suggest. So I'm gonna show you some of the things I've got. I've got about 5 films that I recommend, and then I've got 1 or 2 TV shows. I just want to make something completely clear. Um, if you've watched my videos before, I have said that I find a lot of woke culture quite annoying with all the genders and all the pronouns and the he said, she said, things about politics that isn't true half the time or most of the time. I find that personally annoying, and I hate it when I see that in TV shows and movies. So these ones that I'm saying are pretty much free of all of that. They might talk about the odd thing in politics, but that's just life, and it's politics to do with actual like segregation, to do with the movement of the LGBT community at the time. So my version of like non-wokeism is basically anyone who has a storyline that hasn't had that doesn't have a made up sexuality and has a made up gender, and they don't push a political party on it, and it's just a bunch of gays and a bunch of straights and a bunch of whoever living their lives. Even if a series or a movie is strictly gay, I can see to another person's perspective how that would be still seen as like woke culture, and I do kind of agree with that. But because I'm used to watching specific LGBT stuff, I like that kind of thing. So I personally don't see it as woke just being a normal couple and a normal storyline, but I can see how someone else will see it that way. So just a bit of a heads up about that, and that if you do see it as too much, you know, you're not a bad person. That's normal. It's just more me, that is. So I'm gonna kind of suggest the TV shows first. So I've split it into kind of 2 categories. For like, one was more for the LGBT audience mostly, and then the other half was for the straight audience. So here we go. The first one I'm gonna suggest isn't a series I have a physical copy of. Personally, I think the rate that they charge for the series is a lot, so it's just that I don't want to spend the money on it because I think it's a lot. But I still really like the series. I've watched it many times on like streaming platforms. So that is Shadowhunters. So Shadowhunters is a spin-off of the movie The Mortal Instrument City of Bones. And I think it was a British show because almost everyone on there had like some form of a British accent. So I'm assuming it's British. And then they basically made a series and Americanized it. So there's a lot more like people of colour in there. Most people are more good looking than the original characters in the movie, and a lot of the men are like more buff, and the women are a lot more like sexy. They've got a bit more of a figure. Where in the movie, that wasn't really a thing that they focused on, but I feel like that's typical with English media versus American media. But what I liked about the series is because it's a series, so there was more episodes and more character development with everyone. And it had a huge LGBT base character. Like, there was probably like 3 LGBT couples within the series, and then probably about 5 or 6 LGBT characters as a whole. So this one was geared for obviously the straight audience because it originally was a movie, and that movie was for the straight audience because there's a lot of like fighting. They deal with a lot of like sword work, and it's like action packed basically. But instead of guns, it's more like knives and all that kind of stuff. But I liked how that they incorporated LGBT media and content in there to make it more appealing to maybe the LGBT audience. So even though it was geared for the straight world, it's also quite good for the gay world. The next one is actually one I've got, and that is Will and Grace. So, the thing about Will and Grace is Will and Grace is an amazing TV show, and it's actually a historic television show. It was the first ever series that lasted for 8 seasons originally, but then about 12 years later, they then rebooted it for another 3 seasons. But when it first was a thing, it lasted 8 seasons, and it was the first series that had a gay character lead role, and it wasn't portrayed in a bad way. It was more an honest way. It was round about the same decade as Frasier, Friends, Malcolm in the Middle. Them four were usually against each other in like awards back in the day. I personally have not watched Malcolm in the Middle or Frasier, but I have watched Friends. I personally think that the acting is better in Friends, and I think in then Friends. Sorry, I meant then instead of in Friends. So I think the acting is better in Will and Grace than Friends. And I think that the storylines are better. Like, you believe that everyone is who they are, and the relationships balance more. Where in Friends, I always felt like the storylines and the relationships was forced. Honestly, Will and Grace is such a good television show if you are into 90s soaps. So if you are a massive, massive, massive Friends fan, and if you find Friends funny, you will 100% find Will and Grace funny, because they copy some things within Friends and put it in Will and Grace. It has the same-ish style, the 90s style, and the humour is very similar. If not, I think the humour's funnier. And, you know, Friends was quite conservative, because any time that they showed like a gay person, it was always to take the mick out of them, but that was quite stereotypical in the 90s, where Will and Grace, they still had fun about it and took the mick out of the whole LGBT thing, but it was in a way that was actually positive. Like, the actual gay characters made, like, kind of took the mick out of themselves. So that's something that I really find positive about it. And just the fact that it does tell a real gay experience on both ends of the spectrum. So I literally recommend everyone and anyone watch Will and Grace, because it's so funny and you will learn a lot, but you won't feel like you're learning a lot about the community. The next one is Glee. So these next two are more for the gay audience. So, but obviously straight people can watch it as well, but I would say it's mostly geared towards the flamboyant community, I'll put it that way. So there's a lot of gay characters that's in Glee. Either that are actual characters that they've created, or the actors are actually of the community as well, even if they don't play the roles. So there's a lesbian couple, there's someone who's bi in there, there's about 2 or 3 gay couples that end up working out in the series. There's a couple of trans people that appear in there. So everyone pretty much within the normal community is in there. And obviously the whole point of Glee is that they sing and dance, and there's a lot of really talented singers that are in there. Like Chris Colfer, he has a beautiful voice. Leah Michelle, she's got a very powerful voice. And Amber Riley, she's got a very, very powerful voice. So all of them are probably my top 3 vocalists from Glee. And Glee is very good at telling a good storyline, where it's like relatable and it makes you think about the world in a different way. So I'd recommend people watch Glee as well, but obviously you have to keep in mind that it's a sing and a dance show. So the next one is Queer as Folk. So there's two versions. There's the British version and the American version. I'm not sure which one was first. I think the British one was first, but I could be wrong. But they both basically tell the same story, but just there's different names in there, but it's all the same stories and the same dynamics that's in the American one. Because the American one is the one that I have, like I've just shown you. So this one's quite funny because it's very sexual. Like, guys are fucking in there all the time. There's naked guys in there all the time. They're always in gay bars. So it's basically showing a true representation of what the gay club scene was in the 90s, but just exaggerated like a little bit, but not like loads, because it is quite an accurate representation. But surprisingly, Queer as Folk was actually quite popular with the straight crowd as well. I feel like, if I remember right, I think it used to be on Channel 4 or something. So because it was on like a popular mainstream channel at the time, people were just naturally curious about it. So even though it was for the eyes, I imagine, of the gay community, it was actually quite popular with the straight community as well. Like, surprisingly, a lot of straight men would watch it, which is quite funny. So that's 4 that I've done. So I've kind of narrowed it down to my top 4 series that I recommend watching that are like LGBT influenced. And now I'm going to do the top 4 that I've watched, movies that I've got as well and that I have physical copies of. So the first one that I recommend is called Redwood. So this has a sweet story about this gay couple who has a special needs son. I think that they've either adopted or maybe the son was like a product from like a past partner. I don't think it's said within the series, or if it did, I can't remember. But basically, one of the gay couples is like really soft, very loving to everyone and the son, and then the other one isn't really that bothered. He's quite a cold person and quite dismissive of his so-called partner. And this basically guy comes in town, this new guy, and they basically at first have this friendship, which is nice, because this new guy finds the cute guy who's sweet to be sweet, so naturally he wants to get to know him. But then, because he has a partner, it's kind of just a friendly thing, but then they end up exploring that with more. But then they just kind of get distant with each other. But it's a cute story, so that's why I recommend it. Next one is called Surfer. So again, this has a very sweet story as well. Pretty much all of them are sweet, but Surfer is quite popular, like within the gay community series when it comes to movies. It has very much like a straight vibe to it, funny enough, even though it's clearly about a gay couple that eventually gets to know each other and gets together. But there's just something about it which is very like, I feel like a straight guy could watch it and not feel weird about it because it's very like straight culture. They're surfers and one of them is like a skateboarder and he like does graffiti art. So he's very much like a cool guy. So, and it's mostly about his story with his sister and his sister's little kid. He's basically like this kid's dad because the dad isn't around. So you get to know this family and the sister's kind of over it. She's like not too bothered. She looks after him, but like she's just not really into it, and she's got a new partner that's not at all into it. He finds the whole situation annoying, but his partner, so the gay guy, the main gay guy's partner, is like a really nice, genuine, cool guy, and he loves kids, so he gets on with his brother. So then they end up looking after him near the end. So I definitely recommend watching it. Next is Beautiful Thing. Beautiful Thing is a really cool story. I don't really know what to say about it in length. It's just a cute story. It's got a relatable backstory. The woman that's in EastEnders, who is Johnny's aunt, is in there, so you get to see her evolution, which is cool. So I'd recommend someone watch that. And the last one is Fit. So imagine Beautiful Thing, but exaggerated when it comes to how I was talking about the chaviness. So everyone that's in this movie, well, almost everyone, is pretty much the stereotypical look and personality and the sounding chav. And that's why it's actually really such a good film. It's been actually, if you can see here, it's been awarded one of the best anti-bullying movies for LGBT references out there, because it shows a true storyline within maybe poor communities that have a big chav like embrace. Obviously, if you are gay, they see that as weird most of the time. So it shows very much that storyline within the movie. And I think that's a very much a good thing. And one of the main characters is like really homophobic. There's probably about 3 or 4 like real homophobic people there, but there's one in particular that is. So it's great to see, you know, all of the different reactions from different people, but they're all within the chav mindset. So actual people that are chavs or sporty people maybe can watch this and feel like their voices are being heard. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say. So just to kind of give a tiny bit of clarification, because this is a long video, it's longer than what I thought it'd be with the recommendations. The reason why I'm making this video is to basically say, when TV shows and movies are now on screen showing gay storylines, bi storylines, lesbian storylines, and trans storylines, they need to stop with the woke stuff, because it turns people off to just normal life. And it would be normal people that would be just for our fighting for our rights in general. But now, because it's so indoctrinated at the minute, they don't think about normal rights anymore. When they think about the LGBT community, they think of crazies. So we need more TV shows, honestly, like Will and Grace. Like, Will and Grace is the best series that I can think of, that I've personally watched, that shows a very good like representation of the LGBT community and the straight community living in the same world together and actually liking each other. Plus it's funny, so obviously people can laugh at it, so it doesn't seem like it's a serious thing. So we need shows like that again, and not all the woke bollocks. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry that it was very long, but, you know, I was on a roll. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe down below. If you agree or disagree with what I've just said, or if you actually are into LGBT-themed shows and movies, please let me know what yours is down below. We can chat about it. If you feel like you're not confident enough to contact me in the comments of YouTube, I'll link my Twitters down below and you can message me on there. I'll also link my other YouTube channel where I review or react to music. I just went to Download Festival for the first time 2 days ago, and I've actually linked together all of my clips that I filmed on that day. So if you're interested, go to the YouTube channel and see the latest video on there, and you'll see all mini clips that are from all of the bands that I've seen. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you guys liked it, and have a blessed day.